discussing film, released this tweet that basically mentioned that at one point Gal Gadot was offered the role of Barbie in the Barbie movie, and then what ensued underneath was a bunch of people just dunking on her, either because they call her a Zionist or they just call her a terrible actor. But I shouldn't be surprised by the vitriol, but there was a lot of vitriol.
Yes.
Because her and Amy Schumer were apparently, as we know, Amy Schumer was offered the role of Barbie, or had taken the role of Barbie years ago, and it was a much different movie than the one we got now. But what X was basically saying is like, look at it, they really wanted to put a Jewish person in this role, and the amount of people that were just pissed.
Look, Brett, you're kind of misrepresenting it. Nobody has a problem with it because she's Jewish. They have a problem with it because Israel and Palestine is this hot button issue right now. It's trendy to be mad about it. And Gal Gadot is one of many celebrities who are getting hate right now for being pro-Israel. She is Israeli. She's outspokenly pro-Israel. And yeah, I've seen a lot of hate towards her. But it's not new information that she was offered this role. In fact, I think it might be fake news because somebody tweeted, I went down a rabbit hole trying to research this, and as far as I can tell, it's not actually true. Gal Gadot said that she was asked to play one of the Barbies, but only after Margot Robbie already had the lead role. And that there was she wasn't able to do it because of scheduling conflicts. So I do see Gal Gadot as a possible Barbie, but not the stereotypical Barbie. I don't see Gal Gadot as a blonde, personally. I can't really picture it. But immediately, people were outraged because Gal Gadot could have been Barbie, but wasn't. They're mad that she was even considered for the role because she is a Zionist. One person tweeted, the cultural conversation around Barbie would be so astronomically different these last few months if the face of the movie had been IDF war crime Barbie. Another said, there wouldn't have been a conversation in the first place. You have to have half-decent acting ability to pull off a campy, over-the-top character like Barbie. Gal Gadot can't act her way out of a box. Do you agree with that?
I think she has limited range, yes. I think that she's very successful because she has a very, very unique type of charisma, and she has a very beautiful smile that I think serves her well in the role she takes. She did this movie called Heart of Stone, which I absolutely could not stand. It was really, really bad. It was a Netflix movie. And there's I'm watching it and it's just getting worse and worse, and CGI is really, really bad and everything's really, really bad. But then there's this one scene where she just smiles really big and I'm like, oh, I'll watch like 10 more minutes. And then as long as she does that like every 10 minutes, I somehow end up at the end of the movie. But as far as looking for somebody with enough range to pull off the nuance of what they would want for a character like that, which is, I guess, they did kind of want
like
that.
Barbie?
But in the movie, she's fundamentally, there is stuff at the end that's different from who she was at the beginning of the movie, whether you like their interpretation of the story or not.
Right. I don't think it would have taken that much range.
I don't think the scene Mary mentioned earlier, the one on the bus bench where she's basically, she kind of slowly comes to tears. I just don't know if I buy that Gal Gadot would have pulled that scene off with the same, ability that Margot Robbie did. But also, when she has to have her heart-to-heart with Ken at the end of the movie, I don't know. Maybe she could have done that one, but I think the other scene where she's not playing off anyone, I don't know if I buy that she would have done that. And there's just a certain American whimsy to Margot Robbie's performance that Gal Gadot wouldn't have been able to embody.
Even though Margot Robbie isn't American.
But the point is she's using an American accent, right? And Gal Gadot has always used her own voice. I've never heard her do an American accent in a movie, so...
I don't think she'd be able to do it. Ana de Armas as well.
I disagree that the role was even remotely nuanced, or it did not seem like a difficult role to perform.
Did you end up watching Barbie?
I did watch Barbie.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, there's...
I just didn't think it seemed...
They tried to make Barbie a nuanced character. That was the goal of Barbie. I don't know if it really accomplished that.
As Barbie, perhaps it was a nuanced character, but I don't think that it was... I don't know. I think practically anybody could have played that role. I don't think it looked like a very difficult role.
In the chat, Kent says, Brett, be like, why don't you smile more? Yes, literally. I'm actually saying that. I actually do believe that. You could probably look at the female characters that I like in movies, and the rate of how much they actually smile and seem like warm and inviting people is much higher for the characters that I actually enjoy watching on screen. So yes, you're actually not wrong. I just don't take it from from like a misogynistic point of view. I'm just simply selling you.
No,
telling
Brett,
you what
you're
it
a
is that I like about it.
misogynist.
We had a $20 one here from Pat the Plumber. It says, Mary, part of your forehead is showing.
Oh, no.
Again.
I need to cover it. I need to wear a hat.
She's just start wearing a beanie.
Yeah, I'll become
you really
Tim.
just need the hijab, and then you'll be.
I did.
Yeah, I'll start doing the show in a niqab. You'll barely be able to
it'll be
hear what I'm
perfect.
saying.
You'll cover everything.
I did see somebody the other day said, what if Tim just started wearing wigs one day on Twitter the other day? You could do that.
That would be a serve.
Like George Costanza on Seinfeld when he gets the toupee.
I love it. I think that's a fantastic idea.
Trump style toupee.
It would be MAGA. It would just be like shaved letters MAGA toupee.
And then one here from Mike.
Funny.
He says, Gal Gadot is my current favorite actress, but she does have limited range. Yes, she does. But that's the thing. Like the movies that she's successful in. Look, the reason why Wonder Woman worked is because she is kind of a fish out of water in that movie, and it makes her character look more endearing because she doesn't have any idea how the world works in the timeline that she's in, right? Because she's come from her former home, and now she's there in the UK, and she has no idea what a secretary is or what they do, and that's endearing, and she was able to portray that. I do not believe that she would be able to have the range to pull off other roles.
Well, maybe you're right, and Gal Gadot isn't an incredible actress, but I feel like people are overstating it now just because they hate her stance on Israel. Like, this person...
Thank you! And that's exactly what I'm saying. Is that they're not wrong, but they're not acting in good faith. Let's go!
Someone with a Palestinian flag in bio and pronouns in bio wrote an entire thread saying why Gal Gadot was a horrible Wonder Woman and human being and the current perception of Diana, a thread. And it's just a picture of Gal Gadot with a big X over it, a big red X.
Well, people who hate Jews are just going to be like that.
Yeah, I mean... Pretty much. I don't know
we've been
why.
Seeing so much of that. It's been sort of shocking.
I just
to
can't
see the
relate.
level of anti-Semitism in American society.
I
It's
just
there.
Do you find it shocking?
I have found it surprising. Yeah.
I did as well. I mean, maybe just because I saw this thread this topic the other day where Josie was in a back and forth with somebody on X, says she's been.
And it wasn't about the calendar?
And it wasn't about the calendar.
Wow.
Basically,
Wow.
they were talking about like somebody says, explain to me this magical colorblind society that we used to live in. When was that? And she goes, the 90s.
It was the 90s. Yes, correct.
So like as somebody who is a child of the 90s, who was born in the mid 80s and grew up in the 90s, it is shocking to me to see just how divided and racially and culturally divisive things are.
Yes.
And I think that's perhaps more of a shock to somebody who's from, who grew up in that time period than perhaps somebody who's been born more recently, who's only known this kind of divided timeline that we live in now.
Yeah, but it's just so much more pronounced on the internet than it is in real life. Like, I'm sure most people don't even know that Gal Gadot is Jewish, or they don't even know that she's pro-Israel, and nor would they care.
Well, I think I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, like, most actors and actresses have political opinions that I probably find abhorrent or stupid. It doesn't stop me from watching or enjoying any of the movies they're in.
Yeah, I
think
that's true too. That where that's really pronounced for me actually is what's her name? Jamila Jamil.
Oh yeah.
I hate everything she stands for.
She's very annoying.
She's so annoying, but I really like her in The Good Place, so I'll still watch it.
Yeah.
And I just ignore
It's not a big deal.
I
mean, like,
that part.
We have to do that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not really a choice.
And
liked
she's
her
good
Rachel-
in that show.
We liked Rachel Zegler in The Hunger Games. It was not bad. I did not hate her in that role. It's not a problem for me. I thought Ezra Miller was one of the few good parts of the Flash movie, despite the fact that I would never want to be anywhere in a room with a chair that Ezra Miller could possibly pick up and throw at me. Granted, I'm not a woman, so I might not actually be at risk there. But it's kind of important to be able to look at these things objectively when you have to review their movies and stuff. Or another one that I like, I love Alec Baldwin as an actor. I love Alec Baldwin in 30 Rock. I love Alec Baldwin in everything. He's just really, really annoying and really, really stupid.
And a psychopath.
And kind of a psychopath. And I certainly wouldn't want to ever go to a firing range with him. But,
No, that would be a very bad
I would never want to go to a
idea.
gun range with him. But,
That would be existential.
In general.
I do agree that they massively dodged a bullet with losing Amy Schumer for the Barbie movie, but I assume that the script was in a much different place at that time. They were writing Barbie to be an ambitious inventor, and her invention was going to be a high heel shoe made of Jell-O. I thought I was imagining this, but I did fact check it. And that is the reason why Amy Schumer dropped out of the film. So just by chance, they really dodged a bullet with that one.
It is a compliment to, like, I suppose it says a lot about your career when you've made enough money that you can, like, turn down a project for such a ridiculous reason.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want the Jell-O shoes.
Yeah, you're like, I do not want the Jell-O shoes. I will not do this movie.
Right. That's funny. I wonder what that movie would have been like. I don't remember a 2016 Barbie movie.
Well, that was. I mean, there's a whole lot of movies that get brought up and then
and then they don't
and
happen.
Then they just never happen.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There have been like 9 different. They're finally remaking The Crow this year.
Really?
With one of the Skarsgårds. I don't remember which one.
Isn't
it is.
that movie? I feel like that property is kind of cursed.
It is. I mean, they did a bunch of direct to DVD sequels after the original, but after what happened to Brandon Lee, it's very cursed. There was originally going to be a Jason Momoa version of that movie, which I could actually see being made, but the point is...
And he would be the guy?
Yeah, and he would have been Eric Draven.
Huh.
So the thing is, though, is like there's so many movies where you'll hear about these pitches for like all of the times that these like famous directors were going to make a superhero movie, right? Like like stuff gets flushed down all the time in Hollywood. So the idea that you can just turn on a project because you've made enough money, that must be nice.
Yeah, I guess Amy Schumer is in that position. She seems to have turned it down because she thought the premise was sexist or something, like belittling to Barbie as a feminist figure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's so bizarre that we ended up with Barbie as a feminist figure.
Well, she always was, though.
But she was just a doll.
Yeah, she was just a doll, but it was meant to represent that women can be anything they want to be. Barbie can do every job in the universe and be beautiful at the same time.
I have one of the original stewardess Barbies.
Oh, cute.
Mm-hmm.
That would be flight attendant Barbie now.
Yeah.
No, it is stewardess Barbie.
Flight attendant.
She's got like,
She
I
will
think
always
it's
be
a TWA
stewardess
bag,
Barbie.
I think.
It was very humble of Margot Robbie as a producer on Barbie to not insist on playing Barbie herself. It was Greta Gerwig who insisted that she play the role. But she was just, to me, the obvious choice all along. Maybe that's just because she
looks
did
like
it.
Barbie.
But yeah, she literally looks like Barbie straight out of the box. So.
And still not mid. Another Gal Gadot is another one that people have a mid discussion with sometimes, depending on the comment section you go to.
Gal Gadot
that never makes sense to me because I think both of them are beautiful.
Gal Gadot and mid do not belong in the same sentence.
No, they do not. She's gorgeous.
No.
But she's, like I said, limited acting range doesn't actually, it's not any type of barrier to entry in Hollywood if you can make them enough money, because there's enough, fluff pictures that get made every year that somebody like her, like she just reappeared in the last Fast and the Furious movie, despite the fact that makes no logical sense whatsoever, given that she died like 8 movies back. Doesn't matter. You can bring him back. It's fine. Not 8 movies back, but she died many, many movies ago. So she's perfect for those big budget movies that people only watch because it's something you either put on in the background or because it's mostly action scenes.
Yeah. Do you think a lot of these actors and actresses who made, incorrect statements about Israel and Palestine, who are perceived now as Zionists, are going to outlive that? People are going to forget?
I don't think it matters. I think they're probably going to stand up for Israel no matter what.
Well, yeah, but they only made a statement because everyone was demanding that they make a statement. I don't even know if a lot of them felt that strongly about it. They just follow the tides of social media, and
Gal Gadot, she I'm sorry, I interrupted you again.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, with Gal Gadot, that it makes sense because she had made statements about that in the past. That makes sense. But there were others who had never said anything about Israel or Palestine in the past, and they said something because all of their comments on social media were demanding, make a statement or else, and they fell to that pressure.
Silence is violence.
But then they didn't say exactly what their audience wanted them to say, and there's also pressure from Hollywood for what they ought to say, so they're risking jobs. I saw that people were trashing Joey King as well for being a Zionist. Okay. But I think it's just if you say anything but the scripted line, like, I support Palestine unequivocally, then you're going to get trashed and called a Zionist, even if you're not really one or the other.
Gal Gadot, though, she put together the screening of the, atrocities of October 7th in Hollywood.
Yeah.
she was one of the people who funded that. I'm pretty sure she was one of those
show
people.
up to. She wasn't at the actual event either. So like it was.
But there were like
put it up.
physical fights outside of the theater.
Or was that the one in New York?
There were fights in both places. Yeah. But the other thing too is if you look at the history of Israel in the past, you know, in the 21st century, Israel pulled out of Gaza in 2005, I think. Israel pulled out of Gaza, and then the Palestinians in Gaza elected Hamas to be the governing body. And then humanitarian aid was pouring in for years. So there hasn't really been a lot of cause to make any kind of statement or to be super vocal about your views on, you know, the situation in the Middle East between, you know, Israel and the Palestinian territory there. There hasn't been a lot of reason to do that. Until this happened. Yeah. So I think that's also part of why you haven't seen people make statements prior to that, is there just wasn't anything going on. Like Hamas took 2 years to plan this. Yeah. And during that period of time, they were like, hey, we're nice, give us money. And the US continued to sink money into Gaza, and that money was used to fund terrorism. So I think that that's part of it, is there just hasn't been a need to say anything.
I have a problem with the idea the Hollywood. It's not even just Hollywood now. It's kind of just the culture around the internet that it's not only do you not have a right to not have an opinion, you have to have the right opinion. So it's like, here's this major event that happened. Doesn't matter if it didn't happen anywhere near where you live. You are now required, if you're a public figure, to share your opinion on it. Oh, and by the way, it better be the right opinion or you're going to be in deep, deep trouble, rather than just understanding that some people are going to just choose to not want to say anything.
I mean, it's just disingenuous.
That. Yes, it is.
It's the same thing as being pressured to post the black square. None of these people are educated on what they're talking about. They don't know what they're saying. They're copy and pasting vague statements that they saw on other people's social media. I don't think that celebrities should be political pundits.
I also think we should ban
I agree with that for sure.
We should ban the use of flags in social media names. No flags for your username anymore.
Just get rid of all the flag emojis.
Kind of like how I'm anti-party affiliation on voting tickets. I don't think you should be allowed to. I don't think people's party affiliation should be in the voting booth, so that people are forced to actually read into the people that they're choosing to elect. Right? Because otherwise people just go in and either hit R or D for all the names. I don't want to have to look at what country you represent, because now it's just shorthand a lot of the time on Twitter or X for for what side you support, rather than just imagine there's somebody in Israel who just likes being from Israel but doesn't want to get involved in all this. But no, if you have your flag affiliation for anything, it was Ukraine just the other year, even though people didn't live there.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
No flags for your names anymore. Get rid of them.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.